Hey teachers, here is my interactive notebook or journal tour. So if you use interactive notebooks of any kind, or if you are a language arts teacher looking to use your journal more, here is how I set mine up and use it every single day. All right, so every year we start with one composition book, right? On the inside cover, I like to start with what I call an ABC glossary. That corresponds with this glossary chart I have on my wall, which is where we add words that are unfamiliar, tier 2 vocabulary. This year I'm going to start adding pictures next to them, just words that come up in what we read throughout the year. So the kids just add the word here and they add like a little 1 or 2 word definition, and then I put it on the chart and we just kind of add that to our lexicon. I realized a long time ago it's important to have the student's name on the first page, so I just made this little square. And then our very first page is the books I've read chart. This is where students keep track of all the books that they've read, just kind of the gist, and I like for them to do a little rating. Now, they don't always fill this out super diligently, but it's all there just in case. I would say that this is probably the most important chart, though, that we use throughout the year for reading specifically, because this is where students write what they want to read. So throughout the year, I do a ton of book talks. I show a lot of book trailers. I'm just like pushing books on them. And what I tell them is that they need to add things to their books I want to read list so that later when it's time to pick out a new book, it's pretty easy. Here's an example of one in the past. Now I have the main topic author, like on this one, you can see the author in the gist, just to make it easier for them to find. It's not necessarily something they have to fill out. So then I go into my word parts where we keep track of all the word parts that we're learning. This is the chart for first semester. Next semester, we'll put another one right here on the back. And this, of course, corresponds to my chart in class. And then begins our reading response section. So I just use a Post-it as a tab, and we just kind of like make a little title. And then I have the students turn 20 pages. So basically I count this as a page, 1, 2, and then I just do 20 pages. This is where we do all of our reading responses for after silent reading. Every single day there will be a reading response question after our silent reading time. And you can see we just kind of keep them right here in order. All different types of questions, just organized by date. If you're looking for reading response questions, I have a whole like matrix of them. I think it's on my TPT, but if not, I'll make another video about it. After those 20 pages, we have our writing section. This is a list of prompts, and this comes straight from Penny Kittle. All I did was take her prompts and then just make them like a little more 8th grade. Like I added some that I thought they would be interested in and added more to the end. So basically this is where all of our free writes would go. There we go. We do all of our free writes. If we're doing some kind of like grammar work, it's in here, and it's just writing. And you can see that takes up a bulk of the journal. Now, once it's time for us to take notes for the first time, we add a notes tab 5 pages from the back, and this is where I keep track of all of our literary devices, all of our terminology, genres, etc. I don't give a ton of notes, but this is where they would go if they do. That's why we only need, 5 pages. And then finally in the back cover, I have my self-tracking area. So we track everything from like nitro type, our words per minute, our free writes. This week my class is doing their first free write, so you can see they have the date, the number of minutes, and then how many words they wrote. And it's pretty great because then they can really see how their writing fluency has improved. I also keep track of each bookmark skill. So every other week they get a bookmark that goes with their novel, and I'll show you those some other time. They can track their grades so they can see kind of how they're doing with that skill. I've got room for the big assessments, MAP, of course, fall and winter, which are the only ones that we take, my novel assessments, which are my novel tests that I do. And then at the very beginning of the year, like literally today, my students are creating their gutsy goals, like their big goals for the class and for their lives. So there you go. We use our journal every single day. Like today, when we set it up, we already did our first free write. We went and tracked our number of words that we wrote in the back, and then we started writing with our very first word part. In a couple of days, we'll start checking out books, and then the reading responses will start. So I really love using this journal system. It's worked for me for a really long time. We'll use every single line and every single page in that journal, but I also keep them in class because I don't want them to go missing. Let me know if I can help you with anything else.